With the limited time that we had left to record for the Injustice 2 event in London last week, we decided to lab a little bit of Green Arrow and Cyborg as there were two characters that we're really excited for. We're going to be doing a video for each, not necessarily a getting started video, more so going over some of the more obvious changes that the characters have received in Injustice 2, because they've both been given quite heavy adjustments, but are more so additions rather than things being replaced. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. After Mustard's playtime with Green Arrow has received multiple adjustments to his strings. To start, his 113 no longer launches the opponent. Instead, it knocks the opponent down. His 223 string will now launch. This is better overall, as his 223 starts off as a mid, making it a much more reliable punisher. However, the 223 used to be a hard knockdown, so now Green Arrow will need to end his combos in a different fashion if he wants the hard knockdown. Back 2-3 is another heavily changed string, because the back 2 used to be a fast overhead, but now starts as a normal mid. However, this string by itself is now a hard knockdown. This is a hefty change, as before he did have somewhat of a standing mix-up in back 2 overhead, or raw low arrow, or even low sweep. This will now be a straight up mid, so there's not as much of a mix-up. 111 now also ends in a different fashion. Green Arrow doesn't move himself forward for the final hit anymore. This appears to make the Injustice 1 up arrow corner combos no longer work. However, he does more damage across the board and can still net good damage. Green Arrow will now just need to use different combo options, which makes sense. New game, new combos. Hurricane Bow can now be meter burn to launch the opponent on hit. At first glance, a basic buff, but in reality, a huge help. Not only does this seem to net great damage, it also gives Green Arrow a means to hit confirm any standing string into a full launcher, whereas before, it was dependent on whether or not you had Ice Arrow stacked, or would have required you to use a meter burn back 3, which is twice as meter intensive as simply using meter burn Hurricane Bow. Green Arrow has received multiple changes to how he can hold his arrows. By simply holding down 4, you can keep your arrow aimed. You can still do the standard jumping, shooting down, shooting up, crouching to shoot, etc. However, now you can forward or backdash whilst holding the arrow, and instead of needing to backdash to cancel the arrow, you can simply pull L2 or the left trigger to put your arrow away instead. This is a big change. Ice Arrow no longer restands your opponent mid-juggle. Before, you could end a combo in Ice Arrow to restand your opponent and go in for pressure. Now, the Ice Arrow will simply suspend your opponent mid-air, ending the restand possibility. Whilst a nerf, the Ice Arrow will still do combo damage from any standing string or a down 1, still making it safe and a reliable opener, and it also gives you big reward for any projectile trade. Combined with the other changes, he can still result in getting respectable damage, mid-screen, and in the corner. This could also mean that with this change, Ice Arrows might not be the absolute go-to choice for up-close tools. Given corner combos could now be extended via straight arrow instead of up arrow, this could mean that shock arrows could now be a corner choice for extending damage beyond the ice. Quite possibly the biggest addition is that Green Arrow can now meter burn any held arrow and turn it into a boxing glove version. This arrow does 200 damage, or 20%, on impact, and sends the opponent flying. Not only that, but it was actually plus on block, and did big chip damage, allowing you to lay into your opponent with strings and pressure. This arrow could also be stored and put away for later use, giving you threatening point-blank options, and quite significantly, huge corner damage potential. This one move by itself could make Green Arrow an absolute monster in the corner, especially as after an Ice Arrow, you actually had time to freeze, equip Boxing Glove, put it away, and still continue the combo. The timing was strict, but well worth learning the execution for the damage it does. Finally, Green Arrow's super is no longer an unblockable. In Injustice 1, this led to some pseudo-unescapable situations which would net you huge damage. However, this would leave you open to being clashed, as after your super you're guaranteed to lose any wager, as you just spent all your bar on the reset. This also meant that you could be quite hesitant to spend your bar elsewhere, as you would really want to play for super resets. Now it's a standard strike by itself and leads into big damage. However, now you get more damage across the board for other things. You can feel less restrictive with your meter and can use your super normally if the situation calls for it. Now, this definitely might not be all of the changes. We had very limited time with both Cyborg and Green Arrow, so there's probably going to be some stuff out there that people will find day one on top of what I've already shown off. Like many of the returning characters, Green Arrow hasn't been specifically buffed or specifically nerfed. Things have been changed around, things have been replaced somewhat, to basically make him a much newer character in Injustice 2. His increased damage everywhere on screen is definitely going to make him a much more reliable pick, but when it comes to how good he is compared to everyone else, as always, only time will tell there. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.